This episode of Lawyers Tell All is brought to you by the Intake Academy. Are you ready to convert more callers to qualified cases, rapidly qualify good cases, and transform unqualified prospects to advocates for your firm, whether you're able to handle their case or not? Visit www.intakeacademy.com and discover how to cement relationships with more of your ideal clients. Get them to commit to you and send you more referrals than you ever thought possible. Welcome to the Lawyers Tell All podcast, where Chris Mullins, the preeminent sales and communications consultant in the legal industry, shows you how it looks through lawyers' eyes. Here, innovators in the trenches provide powerful insights that help you connect with new clients, handle the sometimes harsh realities of the legal profession, and embrace the mindsets needed to succeed. Be sure to visit our website at www.lawyerstellall.com. And while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, lean in, tune in, and let's take a deep dive.
Hello, everyone. It's Chris Mullins with Lawyers Tell All. And today I'm going to interview Austin Irabor with NETFLY Digital. And I'm going to let Austin introduce himself. Go ahead, Austin.
Hey, everybody. Austin Irabor, NETFLY, legal marketing, home of law firm acceleration. That's the name of the program. We do motor vehicle accidents, divorce, immigration, things of that nature. We've got some fantastic results, and we've got some great announcements coming up, including being honored on the Inc. 5000 list, number 321 out of the top 5,000 fastest growing private companies in America, all because of our great team and our great clients. And yeah, you can reach me at austin@netflydigital.com or 866-300-9191. Reach out to us.
Awesome. Excellent. Okay, so how did you get into this business, Austin?
Yeah, so I like to say I didn't fall into it. I fell back on it. I started doing marketing back in college. I was building websites for people, locating web.com websites, calling up the owners and saying, hey, I think I can build you something better for a little bit less. And that worked out pretty good. I was able to partially pay my way through college on it. Right after school, I got a job as a digital marketing manager for a campaign for governor. So it was a trial by fire. I was either going to be good at this or not so good at it. Really quickly, I got to spend a whole lot of somebody else's money, and you learn a lot that way. Did really well, broke a little record, came back home to SoCal, where I'm from. Started working on the startup scene, helped a couple companies themselves reach the Inc. 5000 list. Yeah, did that. Just so happens, startups are a little volatile. So I moved into something that I thought was a little bit more stable in an industry that I thought could really help. And my philosophy has always been, if you combine straightforward advertising with operational excellence, you're going to get really fast results. Things are going to accelerate. And that's where I came up with law firm acceleration, which is basically making my company an accelerator for law firms. And it's worked out pretty well over the last, let's say, 7 years.
Okay, so how did you get into the legal business?
I didn't flip a coin, but I did want to work with white collar professionals whose language I could speak, that spoke my language. And once upon a time, I had an interest in the law. So this was kind of me peeking my head back into the door. I'm glad I dodged the law firm bullet, according to a lot of people. But yeah, I can't get away from it. And I was attracted to it nevertheless.
Okay, but you don't want to be an attorney anymore?
Absolutely not.
That's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, right?
Absolutely. Hallelujah. Yeah.
100%. How many kids do you have?
I have one 2-year-old boy, and he's got the energy of about 4 kids. So you know how that goes. Our first kid. And yeah, it's a firecracker. I think I got one more left in me. I got 0.75 left in me, but we're going to round up and try to give him a brother or sister and call it a day. Yeah.
Okay, so your wife feels the same way, I would imagine, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
100%. All right, so there's a lot of businesses out there that do marketing.
Yeah.
So tell everybody why you.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are tons of companies out there that want to generate some leads, however they generate them, dump them into your inbox and say, good luck, you're stuck with us for a year or whatever it is. Everything starts with a core philosophy that I have, which is that this is a collaboration, number one, and feedback's required on both ends. So it's a two-way street. We're going to see some things in the data that tells us what you could be doing better, and you're going to see some things in your results and in your data that tells you that we could be doing better. And if we hold honest to those things, we're going to see your graph go up and to the right on the revenue side, guaranteed. That's number one. Number two, we don't just want to be the company that drops leads into your bucket. Everybody's already doing that. So we drop leads into your bucket, but we also monitor those leads, and we take a key interest in what's influencing the aspects of your operation that are impacting your ROI. So we're data driven, and we can see some things that maybe you can't see, maybe you're too close to them. And sometimes for a lot of law firms, the person that pays the bills is not close enough to them to begin with. So having a bird's eye view of the data and really honing in on the advertising aspect, which honestly is the easiest part of this whole thing. I wish all I had to do was advertise. We're able to get a really good result with the client because they can drink that Kool-Aid and it's delicious and they like the results of it.
Okay, so just kind of like drill down a little bit. There are other marketing agencies also that monitor calls, provide reports and all of that. So like drill down, like, okay, what is underneath that makes everybody want to go with you and stay with you?
Oh, yeah, sure. So not only do we monitor and look, we're not going to monitor things and drop a report and say, this is how many calls you got and all this other stuff. We're literally going to go in and help you update your policies to the modern era. A lot of law firms are stuck in 1980 in terms of their follow-up policies and how they talk on the phone and the consistency, ongoing communication. We're analyzing not just the numbers of the campaign, we're analyzing the actions that you and your team are taking that drive those numbers. And if you're not doing that, if you're not combining the quantitative kind of numbers-based, here's what's going on in your campaign, with the qualitative, here's what we noticed, here's how we can coach you up to be more like, the clients that are absolutely crushing it and scaling with us, which is what we want you to do, then you're still going to get left behind. It's still a competition. We're here to help you compete. We're not just giving you the basketball court. We're giving you the court, the ball, the jersey, the coaching, and we're blowing the whistle when things aren't fitting the way that they're supposed to. And clients really appreciate that. And as it's a big deal, and they're not on top of it all the time. They know in the back of their mind, sometimes they have people that are costing them revenue, and to have that reinforced or to get those particular people coached up or moved to a place in the organization that's better for them is really impactful, and it makes a huge difference on the client's bottom line.
Okay, so drilling down a little bit further, how do you, like you said the word coaching, so how do you do that? You give me the results, and then what do you just meet with me on a regular basis and you say, okay, like how does that happen?
Sure. We meet at regular intervals to go over your numbers no matter what. We benchmark you against our existing clients. We actually benchmark you against what we consider like our top tier clients. They've got great teams, great leadership, things of that nature. We're trying to make you a lookalike to our other clients. We know that if you take 100 different law firms, you've got 100 different ways to run that kind of a business. And we know from experience and from observation what is and isn't the best way to do things, right? And so when we see that, and when you're not exhibiting that operational excellence, we can blow the whistle and say, hey, here are some things that you guys can do right now to impact the results of this campaign. Now, it doesn't start in those little intervals. It actually starts at the very beginning on the front end. So what we do is we have interviews with some of our clients that are absolutely hitting home runs every single month, crushing it with ridiculous numbers, $500 per sign up in motor vehicle in a place like Florida, $900 per motor vehicle sign up in a place like California, et cetera. It goes on and on. We interview those clients. We ask them, what are the core concepts? What are the beliefs that you guys have? What are you doing operationally? We also have probably the best coach, not probably, must be the best coach for intake on the planet, named Chris, who is also a key partner for NETFLY. And so, as you know, you have a quick start video that you developed specifically for our lead flow, which clients love, absolutely. When they have sticking points, when they're still not hitting the mark, we get those clients on the hook with you. You can go deeper into what's going on in their practice, which is fantastic. It sounds like a plug for you, which is okay. It's fine. It's great. And we also get them in contact with some other lawyer in another market that doesn't encroach upon their territory, and vice versa, where typically they're having a candid conversation about what's working with them. And it's a good networking opportunity in that respect as well. So when you combine what we're doing on the advertising side, which has some innovations to it, which is great. It's bringing great lead flow at a good low cost. And you combine that with an operational structure that's basically templated, designed by myself, people like you, and our existing clients that are crushing it out of the ballpark. It's really hard to lose when you adhere to all of it.
Yeah. And so I like that little piece about, it sounded like you said, we'll connect one law firm with another law firm that are not in competing areas, and they can kind of like, it's like a little mini mastermind.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And help each other, right?
Yeah. I mean, the good thing about working with lawyers is that when you really peel back the onion, they want to be more successful. You know, there are other industries where they're just kind of okay floating. All of the lawyers out there, they're competitive. They all want to be more successful. They all want to double their revenue. They all want to increase. And luckily, 90% of them, the majority of them, are very honest about the fact that they don't know what they don't know. And they love somebody to step in and tell them. They love getting help. And we kind of, we fill a unique gap in the market that I don't think is really being filled by a lot of agencies. They're either doing a bunch of marketing and walking away and saying, hey, you got us for the next 12 months, so figure it out. And then they've got consultants who they can't do the marketing for you, but we've unified the two, our marketing, great consulting like yourself, great consulting from other lawyers that can speak their language one for one. And the result is acceleration.
So it sounds like to me is you folks like really roll up your sleeves because you want me to convert.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, you want me to convert. That's it.
That's it. You you must convert. So in the last, year and a half, we've probably told more clients, hey, this isn't for you, than we've told, hey, let's do it. Please, here's the contract. Please sign it. Please, like, you ask anybody around the country that does law, if they've spoken to me, it's not a salesy conversation. If they've spoken to anyone on my team, it's not a salesy situation. We're really looking for good fits. We don't believe in the model where you sign up 1,000 law firms and 200 of them drop off and you just deal with the attrition. We want everybody that we're dating to eventually get married to us. And we know that comes down to compatibility. So
it's just like a marriage.
It really is. I mean, these business relationships should feel like you're dating to get married, because these relationships are the core to your success.
Yeah, it's like a partnership too. I mean, so which the same as a marriage, but you want to interview them as much as they want to interview you to see if it is the right success. And so
100%.
What do you see as like the number one opportunity for law, besides working with an agency like yours? What's the number one opportunity that you uncover like immediately with most of them?
Follow-up policy. Follow-up policy. Typically, it doesn't exist, and it's usually written, or it's in the mind of the intake people that work in the firm. I think this is something that you're probably keenly aware of or have an understanding of. But if you got 8 people on your intake floor, you might have 8 different follow-up policies. It's usually not something they document, and it's not something that has objectives behind it, and it isn't something that has a lot of tools to enable the intake team to really do their best work. But if you just instill something just as simple as, you're going to contact these people X amount of times per day, X amount of days, and then you're going to drop it down to this many, and we're going to load up your pipeline, and your job is to focus on this, and your allowance for giving up is they have a need that they filled elsewhere, or they no longer have a need, right? Because people's sales cycles differ in time. And however, the patience cycles of some of these intake people is not very high. They'll call once, call twice, leave a voicemail, and if they want to sign up with us, they know who to call. That doesn't actually cut it when you're the one paying the bills for that lead, right? You would want them contacted until they're no longer cooking dinner for their family, until they're no longer at the grocery store. Maybe they've got a white collar job like yours. Maybe they're doing podcasts like these. Maybe they're on the phone all the time. Maybe they're texting your law firm back. He's texting them. This happens a lot. Like we monitor this all the time. People's preferred line of communication tends to be text. Anybody born after like 1982 would rather text than listen to a voicemail and call it back. It's so old school. So giving people the tools to do that. If they don't have a policy, telling them what the policy should be, creating objectives for them. And what we're working on right now is actually removing that responsibility for the smaller firms that might have like a person, a little bit older, a little bit more old school, take the attitude of, hey, if they want to sign up, they'll just call us back and all that other stuff. We're just going to have a kind of a concierge service going on where we've got someone trained by someone like you, most likely you, where they understand empathy, they understand the framework of a good call, and all day long, their singular focus is making those callbacks for our clients so that we can squeeze all the ROI that we know is in there out of these campaigns. That's kind of the next frontier for us.
Well, that's amazing. And so I'll go like even further. What we need to do, what law firms need to do is accept the fact that their intake team is the sales team, and it is 24/7, period. It's not like, all right, well, let's have people do an outbound like during normal business hours and every once in a while in the evening. No, it's 24/7 all the time. And the best way to handle that is the fastest best way is to have a virtual team. Have a virtual sales team. If you can have people in your office and have a call center, great, but not everybody can or wants to. So don't give up. Just go to the virtual and have your own virtual call center. And they're outbound. That's just what they do. Let them be experts at it. Nothing. They don't do anything else. They're just experts at, and they get really a charge out of chasing Mrs. Smith outbound over and over and over again. And then the only other thing that you really need to do, is inspect what you expect. So make sure that you just don't say, okay, go everybody, listen to the calls, provide ongoing coaching over and over again. But it's time for a sales team. It's time for salespeople, right?
Amen. Yeah, I agree. The majority of law firms don't have any salespeople, not a single one. What they have in the intake department is a bunch of survey takers, right? So they're qualifiers, and they can sign up anybody who's A, qualified, and B, came from like a referral source or something, where they were already pre-sold. But the average person is going to speak to 4 to 7 law firms before they make a decision, right? You have to be competitive in your consistency, in your follow-up, and you have to show that potential client that you care more than the other firm. And that's going to come down to what is going on in the conversation with your frontline person. they'll never get to you and they'll never sign if that frontline person is just going through the motions and is treating the lead like a lead.
Yeah.
We don't want to treat leads like leads. We want to treat them like people that have problems. And when we come down to being like 911 dispatchers instead of people that work at the post office, it's a completely different experience for your prospective client. And one thing that we tell people is, hey, the experience starts with the advertising. It continues when they sign up to hear from you, but it still continues when you call them back and you speak to them. It's still the exact same experience. It's still one long experience. And we've started casting a spell for you, but you can easily break that spell and you can easily snap them out of it and get them to go somewhere else on the basis of the quality of the conversation, which comes down to empathy and listening. The simple things that really a person who's focused on it is going to be doing all day, getting better at it every single day. And as you put it, or what you alluded to, is that they're going to want more and more and more of that because that's what they're driven by. They're not going to say, I'm talking to too many people and I'm not seeing traction. They're going to say, get me more people to talk to.
Yeah, just hire people and tell them that they're salespeople. Use the S word. Give them scripts, monitor the calls, train them and coach them. What's really interesting is that I know a lot of managing partners that have gotten into other businesses. So starting their own call centers, like answering services, and also hiring agencies, to find people. But they haven't put the same time, money, energy, and effort into their own team to be a sales team. And so that's the secret sauce right there. What's the best advice you could give to everybody? Like the one thing that you feel that they should do when it comes to making a decision on marketing, like what should they do?
To be perfectly honest about it, the number one thing you can do is decide what your values are, decide what you're looking for, and figure out what your gaps are. You have that ready so that you have questions to ask each individual agency. That's number one. Number two, if you know that you have a need, be proactive and shop on your own. Don't wait for an ad to entice you with some ridiculous offer that you know is too good to be true. Then you call them up, you sign up, you're stuck in a contract. It's bad for you. It's really bad for them, and it's bad for my industry. So I'd rather you didn't. I'd rather you shop proactively and look around. Number three, look for lookalikes in terms of client roster. So when you look at our client roster, do you see yourself in that? Because if you do, then there's probably potential for you. For example, on the motor vehicle side, we don't really work with solos. We don't work with solos at all. It's just too much volume. It doesn't make a lot of sense. You got too many hats you're already wearing. We have to say no to you. There are other agencies that might be a better fit for you, but that's something that you can figure out on your own. Don't go in asking people to pitch you. You're eventually going to get pitched something you like. That doesn't mean it's something that you need or is good for you. So be proactive, shop aggressively, know what your pain points are, and ask the right questions around those pain points. You should be okay.
Yeah, 100%. And discipline yourself to be ready to be an implementer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You gotta you can't just want it and then flip the switch. Oh, they're gonna take care of everything for me. Austin will take care. Well, you have to be part of it. You have to be an implementer and be willing to hear the tough things and make those changes and trust your partnership with Austin. Otherwise, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's the same thing with my clients. If they can't trust me and commit to actually listening and taking the advice, it just doesn't really make any sense, right?
That is a great addition. Yeah. I'd also say, if your plan is to pay the bill and then delegate it to somebody that doesn't even know that we exist, that's not the plan. That's not good at all. So that's a really good way for me to not work with you. I don't like to see that. That's typically a sign for failure. It means you're not really engaged. You like what you see on the front end, but you don't want to get your hands dirty on the back end. And we like owners who have managers, they manage their managers, and those managers are willing to do whatever it takes to bring the result home. That's how everybody wins.
Okay. Tell everybody in a nutshell, what lessons, because they can get ideas from this, how you answer is, what lessons have you learned as the CEO of a fast growing company, like from when you first started and like, oh my gosh, here we go. What have you learned that you could tell any business?
Yeah. So none of us business owners do enough of this, but document everything. You should be able to open up a manual, and that manual will be the operating system for your business. You should have everything documented, all of your procedures, all of your values, all of your wants and needs, all of your issues, your next few hires, who's responsible for what. Have objectives, assign those objectives to people, get organized, know your numbers. This is you're running a law firm, but your law firm is a business. I'm sorry for your lawyers that just want to be lawyers. I hear that a lot. Like, hey, I just want to be a lawyer, right? Yeah. I'm sorry, but you're no longer a lawyer. You're a business owner. You're an entrepreneur. So get super organized about everything and be prepared to delegate. Delegate down the things that can be done at about a 70 to 80% quality level that you would do. That means if somebody else can do it at 70, 80% capacity to you, that means that person's probably ready to take it off of your hands so that you can focus on being the visionary that learns how to add value or has the time to talk about what it is you do in the first place, right? Or has the time to write that book or go to those seminars or strategize and think, what's the next step for my law firm? You can't do that if you're wearing a million different hats, and you can't do that if you're buying products that you saw online and delegating them to somebody else. Okay, so it's really serious stuff. And I would say one last thing: take coaching. Take the coaching where you can, and get your people, get your executives, your managers, people that are responsible for bringing you back numbers. Make sure that they're getting coached up, right? It's no different from owning a basketball team or a football team. A football team has all kinds of coaches. They have offensive coaches, defensive coaches, linemen, running back coach, offensive coordinators. There's a reason for this, okay? Because everyone who's got a particular focus needs to be trained and kept honest about improving their results, their key performance. So
yeah. So I'll just add one thing to it. Kind of like what Austin was saying is join a mastermind. It's like the best thing we ever did. I don't know, I've been in maybe 10 different ones over the years, and the best decisions I've ever made. So join a mastermind, network, communicate, make yourself vulnerable, and make the tough decisions, and you'll be good. And if you want to go and be the attorney and that's just what you want to do, then just plug in the right pieces of the operation so that you can go do that, right? And be with your family, right? Okay, so Austin, last question. What keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night? You know what? I tend to think outside of myself and outside of the business a lot. So societal stuff, I should probably tend to my garden a little bit more. But where things are going politically is kind of interesting. I don't know if we've ever had a time like this before. So I think about that a little bit. I think about where my kid is going to go to preschool. Think about family and everything that comes with that, and where we should finally plant roots if we're gonna uproot ourselves or not. We have a few years to decide on that. And then on the business side, it's what's next. What's the next thing that we can do to deliver more value than anybody else is delivering? And what is the next piece of technology that we're going to plug in that perhaps competitors haven't even thought is applicable, right? We have a plan. I want us to be the McDonald's, the Walt Disney, the Starbucks of what we're doing. I want to be an industry utility. Eventually, I want people to say, if you're not using NETFLY, you're at a huge disadvantage. Why are you not using that?
Right.
So we can get there. And it's going to take more sleepless nights, I guess, for me.
Yeah, 100%. All right, everyone. So the reason why I decided to work with Austin and NETFLY Digital is because I spent a lot of time getting to know Austin first. Yes, we dated for a while, and back and forth, back and forth. But the bottom line is, I just came to the determination that he's a good guy. He has great character, high integrity. He's a good man and does what he says he's going to do. He really, really cares. And if Austin says it, it is so. And I trust him. So that's pretty much it. All right.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, everybody. So long. Lawyers Tell All. We'll see you again real soon. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Lawyers Tell All, where Chris Mullins takes you on a journey with lawyers in the trenches who show you the realities of what it takes to succeed in this chaotic, crowded, ever-changing profession. Remember to visit our website at www.lawyerstellall.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on Lawyers Tell All.